Hi there, Heather Steves here, and today I want to share the fourth page in my day trip journal. So for this one I wanted to use the CS360 Wonky letter set, so I stamped out a title and then I just cut them apart in some funky shapes with my scissors. And then my next step was I wanted to use the 2163 Journal Sleeves Fillers 1 set. So I wanted to use that to cut out my photos like I have done previously. So this is the ATC size from that set. So I just cut out the smaller one with the photo with the smaller die, and I'm just layering it onto the ATC card, which is from the coffee dyed papers. There was a cut apart sheet there, and I had cut apart the entire sheet using all my different ATC dies. So this one, I had a few left over, so I was just using them and adding them together and adding the photo onto the one, and then those will go into the pocket. So I cut my base page using set 2159 Remember, and then I also used the pocket from that set for this page layout as well. So for the right page, I'm also going to go ahead and use the Journal Sleeves Fillers 1 set. This time I'm using the smaller square in that set, and I'm using it to cut out my photo, the smallest of that set. And then I'm also going to use both of the other squares in that, and I'm cutting two base layers. So I'm cutting the square with the dark, the fuchsia color, and then I used the middle one to cut this kind of off white one. And then I'm just double matting that photo onto those mats. So my next step was to grab that title and to just play around with a couple of different options. I wasn't too sure if I could find a way to make it look a little bit better than what I thought it looked like on the pocket. I thought actually it would be kind of cool like that, like crossword, but it just really wasn't the right size to fit there. So I just defaulted back to the way I originally had it. But doing this, I kind of realized I needed to add a little bit more texture or something. So I grabbed out stamp set CS363, the passport stamps, and CS364, the Textures stamp. And I thought I would add those around my papers. So rather than just adding plain ink stamps, I thought it would be fun to use my vintage photo Distress Oxide. And so I grabbed that out instead of my regular ink, and I started adding some of those to my paper. And then I used my clear embossing powder over top of that so that it would add a little bit of gloss and shine to the page. So once I had a few images stamped and the embossing powder on them, then I grabbed my heat embossing clipboard. So you've probably seen this before in my videos. It's just a clipboard covered in tin foil. Just makes it easier for heat embossing, especially if you have smaller pieces, because it just gives you a little clip to hold it on there. So now I'm just moving on to the pocket, and I'm just going to go ahead with the same technique. So I placed the title on there, and now I'm kind of placing my stamps around that title so that you'll see them through the letters, so that I'm not wasting my time stamping and then covering it up. So I gotta say, this little rectangle line stamp that I was using there, it's from the CS364 Textures stamp set. It's probably one of my favorites. I just love it as a background stamp. And then you saw me just adding the little numbers there. Those are from the passport stamps. They're really cool, and I think it looks really neat when they're hanging off the page like that as well. So here you see that I just doubled up on that rectangle stamp. I just wanted it to be a little bit heavier with the embossing powder. So I just stamped it again and re-embossed it. Now I'm just putting a couple of stamps onto the base page there where I'm going to add the pocket. So I don't need a lot on there because you won't see a lot of it. But again, I pulled out that rectangle stamp and I used it again. And this time it's kind of hanging off of the page as well. Like I said, I really do like it. I think it looks really cool when you stamp it underneath of something else. So at this point, I was happy with all of this stamping that I'd added onto the base pages. So my next step was to start to attach this pocket. So I just added some double-sided adhesive on there. And then you'll see I just exposed the one corner, the edge of it. So then that allows me to line it up nicely with my page. And then once it's lined up, I put some good pressure on it, and then I peel off the rest of that backing tape. So I decided I did want to make it a full pocket, so I ended up cutting a little piece of the double-sided adhesive, and I just added it onto that little end there and then attached that down. That way my ATC cards will not slide out. So now that the stamping is added onto the pocket, I'm just putting my title back on there to see how it looks. And I'm still not totally happy, but I found this cute star cutout in with my paper. So this is the same color as the mat, and I thought it was perfect. So I just inked that up, and then I'm going to add that on there, and that just finishes off that title. And now I'm really happy with how that looks. So for my final touch, I grabbed out stamp set CS365 Travel Phrases, and I pulled off this little Making Memories stamp, and I'm just stamping that on my off-white cardstock. So you saw I had two inks there. So one is a brown and one is a little bit of a rusty dark red, and I just stamp kind of with both colors because that just mixes those inks together and it makes it match my paper better, and I like that. So I just ink the edge, then I'm just cleaning that up there, and I'm going to attach everything down, and then my page is all finished. I certainly hope you enjoyed this layout. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel, and of course have yourself a wonderful day.